This is Mayor-to-be Gavin Buckley on the Maryland Crabs saying this is the best solution to a hangover, listening to these guys talk. I feel better already.
Live from a grungy kitchen table located in Annapolis, Maryland's scenic and historic capital, it's the Maryland Crabs Podcast. With each episode, your hosts, Tim Hamilton, John Frenay, and the occasional guest will dive in and pick apart the stuff that really matters most to you. We're too lazy to actually solve any of these problems, but we can definitely stir the pot. From schools, politics, parking in the fire lane, to those horrible people who drive BMWs. And here with this week's episode, live from the kitchen table, Tim Hamilton and John Frenay.
It's the Maryland Crabs. Let's talk boats.
It is the Maryland Crabs, and we are going to talk about boats. We are going to talk to Paul Jacobs, who is the general manager for the Annapolis boat shows, which are coming into town this weekend and next weekend. Learn all about what's new and cool and exciting there.
Did they get rained out last year? Not rained out, but did it get rained on?
Oh, it gets rained on all the time. They got flooded and rained, and actually that's something we talk about because they've got a solution to the flooding downtown, but they're not going to give it to the city.
Giant dam?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
A levee?
Yeah, our discussion last week with Gavin and Alex was interesting.
That should have been a drinking one. We all had these glasses of water. You hear the clinks of the ice cubes in the background.
Uganda or something like that. He couldn't go there drunk.
Well, and then we could be gentlemen about it and just sip our slow gin fizzes or something.
Or something about that. But, you know, there's a method to his madness, it seems, but it just wasn't very well communicated. I think that's what I took out of it.
I get torn about the bike lane is that it's a knee-jerk reaction when it comes to the city, especially on social media, that I just get irritated in principle that whenever any change occurs, everyone's up in arms. And I'm not saying that people don't have valid points. Maybe I just fall on the side of the bike lane just because I'm annoyed by everyone's whining. And I'm not saying that there aren't some real issues with it. And I think that they have to address them. I think he moved faster than people are accustomed to. And aesthetically, and like I said, I don't like it. But they can clean that up.
Well, they are. And we live in a culture of no, which is unfortunate. And, you know, I'm going to be critical of the mayor and say that he should have known that. And I think, you know, a little bit more of communication and not make the assumption that all the businesses knew about it because of this one meeting that they had. I think that was a downfalling on his part. But I think that, to turn around and say, hey, look, this is what we're going to do. It is only temporary. It's only 30 days. This is what we're going to do for your customers as far as appeasing their parking woes. Here's the tickets or whatever it is to get into the garages, whatever they did. I think that would have gone a long way. I don't know that it would have made any difference as to whether the thing was ultimately accepted or rejected, but I think it would have gone a long way to prevent the protest rallies at the top of Main Street and
which is stupid,
and everything else that was there. But if you haven't listened to that, give that a listen. Last week's episode was really good. We had Alex Pline, who is the former chairman of the Transportation Board. He's now on the Planning and Zoning Commission, and that guy from Australia came in and talked to us and explained.
Paul Hogan?
Yeah. So, no, we had Gavin Buckley, the mayor of Annapolis, in with us. So that was an interesting episode and certainly timely with all of the brouhaha for the bike lane.
I think that's the exact words that Alex used in his commentary on Annapolis, brouhaha.
Brouhaha.
I meant to make fun of him about it, and I forgot, so now you have to text him.
That is true. Hey, and to anybody who's listening here, thank you guys, man. Our traffic on this podcast is like through the roof.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty happy.
I mean, the Red Maryland episode was great.
Yep.
The one with Richard Karn, Al Borland from Home Improvement was really good. And a whole bunch of the most recent ones really have been through the roof traffic-wise. So that means more people are listening to us, which is kind of cool. So maybe you can give your mom a night off or something like that.
Yeah, so she won't have to click all those likes and everything and download on all her different devices.
She's got that carpal tunnel and all that stuff. But no, thank you. But do please recommend us to all of your friends and coworkers and colleagues and whatnot, because that does help. Pass the word if you like us. And, thank you. If you're ever on any place where you get your podcast, make sure you give us a review or a rating if you've got the time to leave a few words. They are always good because we can learn from that.
And definitely subscribe. And we say this all the time, and maybe people don't understand what that is. So when you subscribe, you find your podcast. You just don't listen to that particular episode. You click subscribe, and it's delivered to your device every week. You don't have to think about anything. It's just right there. There we are. The Maryland Crabs staring at you.
That's right. Yesterday, I was walking my track at Pip Moyer, and I looked down at my phone, and it said, the Annapolis podcast has a new episode.
Do you know what I'm listening to now? I got that Libby app. I learned about that when you...
What app?
Libby.
Oh, yeah.
Libby. I learned about that when you did your your interview with a library with, what was his name?
Skip Alt.
And so I downloaded the Libby app, so now I download books from the library, audiobooks. And I will say sometimes there's a little bit of a wait. So I reserved this book probably 6 weeks ago, but it was A Stand by Stephen King, which, by the way, is 55 hours long to listen to it. But I love that app. I listen to stuff all the time. I listened to Salt last week, all about salt.
Look at that. And if you didn't listen to that episode, you don't know anything about the Libby app.
I was impressed with that episode. I would always go say that John did that on his own with Skip Alt from the Anne Arundel County Library. And I was so annoyed with him because I thought it was going to be just so dull. And it really was really good because I learned all this stuff I didn't know the library had.
But yeah, like I say, I got my Annapolis podcast, which was Scott McMullen's. His latest one was actually a very, very powerful one with Jessie Dunleavy and her son. She lost him to an overdose.
I didn't hear that one.
And he really got into it. It was really good. So I do recommend go looking at that. But before you do that, hang tight here because we have Paul Jacobs from the Annapolis boat shows, and he's coming up right after we pay some bills, I think.
Here's to the teacher who spends her weekend helping children who need a little extra attention. To the soldier who missed the birth of his baby while serving overseas. To the EMT working full-time and taking night classes. To the police officers and firefighters working long hours away from their families to keep our families safe. Here's to you, our hometown heroes. I'm Alan Hyatt, Chairman and President of Severn Bank, and we know there are many heroes among us. Men and women who serve without expecting anything in return. Which is why we're honored to offer our Hometown Heroes program to educators, law enforcement officers, firefighters, first responders, healthcare workers, and military personnel. Whether you're opening a checking account or buying a new home, we're here to give back to you. Learn more about our Hometown Heroes program at severnbank.com. Severn Bank, here with you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When you think of Watermark, you probably think of Harbor Queen. You know, the big white boat that sits down at the end of City Dock. But did you know that Harbor Queen is much more than just a visitor attraction? That thousands of local school children take field trips aboard it every year to learn about the Chesapeake Bay and our region's history. But that's not all you don't know about Watermark. When the Susquehanna River crested, washing thousands of tons of debris into our waterways, Watermark was there, rolling up their sleeves, helping the Annapolis Harbor Master clean up Ego Alley. And when the Annapolis Police Department SWAT team needed a boat to conduct special training exercises on to help protect our waters, they called Watermark. Watermark, making our mark. To learn more about how Watermark is here for our hometown, visit watermarkjourney.com.
Is it safe to say that I'm the first person that has joined an interview in this location?
You are the very first. That's correct. Yes.
This is John Fernay. I'm here with Paul Jacobs, who is the owner, general manager, chief cook, and bottle washer of the boat shows that are coming up in Annapolis before we will know it. And we're sitting in his new, I wouldn't say it's a corner office, but it's probably got the best view of Annapolis. I am looking out a big window onto Ego Alley with the state capitol just behind us, the market house, Main Street's going up to my left. Congratulations on moving into 110 Compromise Street.
Thank you. It's actually good to finally be here. A bit of a distraction looking out this window, by the way, watching boats and people and all that. But it's we're getting used to it.
It's you guys have moved in 110 Compromise Street is the old Fawcett's building, which it probably will never shake that moniker.
Right.
It's like CBS. Some people still call it the Mexican Cafe. But you're one of the maritime tenants that's moved into here, and this just made so much sense for the boat shows because your business for the weeks that you're operating as a boat show is right here.
Right.
So it makes sense that you can watch it evolve, handle the issues. You don't have to have trailers back on
PG Street.
PG? I know those Prince or King. I get all this.
It's the small one. It's a Prince, I guess.
You know, all of the streets there. And it really just sort of, I'm sure, helps your operations immensely.
Well, yeah. If you think about just the move between our previous office and the trailers and do it 3 times a year. Actually, we do it in the fall. We do it twice in the spring. So it's a bit disruptive to everything where we can be a permanent location here now. People will get to know that this is the place you go to check in for the boat show, and we can watch what's going on all the time year round too.
Do you have a spot on the roof for your time-lapse camera yet?
We have access to a spot on the roof. We don't have it. We don't have that put together yet. No.
I always love to watch the changeovers and the videos that come out of that, where the sailboats come in a ballet and they go out in a ballet, and then the powerboats come in. But let's talk about the boat shows, because while I would like to think it's August and the boat shows will be here before we know it, the sailboat show comes in, as it always does, October 4th through the 8th, and then the powerboat show follows up the following weekend on October 11th through the 14th.
Right.
And what year is this for that?
This is Sailboat Show number 49. So the first in-water boat show ever produced anywhere was in 1970 here in Annapolis. And so this is the 49th, with next year being our 50th celebration.
Ooh, that's going to be a big one. You have to have fireworks.
We'll have something very
I've heard that you have to have fireworks for 50. They did that at the Seafood Festival last year for their 50th.
Okay.
You got to catch up with them. And the powerboat show's been here, about 20?
2 years less. So this will be the 47th year for
wow.
For the
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it started the sailboat show first, and then 2 years later they added the powerboat show immediately following.
That's just sort of how the mentality works here in Annapolis. Sailboats first and powerboats.
I think that's true. Now, if you look at the size of the two shows, that may be a little different these days. But yes, that's the mentality is right.
That is true. Well, I'll tell you, the sailboat show and the powerboat show have become two icons, and we talked a little bit before we started, and it's in the maritime community. When you say Annapolis, that's what you think about. In the general community, when you say Annapolis, two things that probably come to people's mind will be the Naval Academy, and that comes to pretty much everybody's mind.
I think so.
And anybody that's in even a cursory knowledge of maritime or boating would think about a boat show. As you said, they're not going to remember that Washington resigned his resignation here, that we were the capital of the U.S., or who our mayor is, or that we're even the capital of Maryland, because we all know that it's Baltimore.
Really?
That's what
I didn't know that. I thought I'm pretty sure it's Annapolis.
Yeah, Baltimore thinks they are. Yeah, we'll give them a little bit there. But the boat shows are just part of the culture, part of the fabric of what Annapolis is. And obviously, there's some locals that bemoan the traffic and bemoan the people and everything else. But the more you expose the city to more people, and your attendance has been on the increase. You went through a dip during the recession, which is not unusual for 100% of the businesses.
Very common. Yes.
But your attendance has been up. You had a record attendance last year. The economy is very strong. I know my 401k has been going up and stocks have been appreciating. So I would presume that this year would be also another strong year. But each time we can expose Annapolis to one more person, and whether that be through the boat show, which is certainly a huge number of people, but they're seeing the Market House and Iron Rooster and Middleton's and Dock Street and Ego Alley and all of the restaurants, all of our merchants, and everything that we have to offer, the State House, Eastport, all the great places over in Eastport. And that's a huge value to the city and to the residents here.
Well, it has to be. And I think that the studies that have been done show that there's a $112+ million economic impact that's created by the boat shows in 2 weeks in October. Now, I'm not talking about the 4th of July. I'm talking about 2 weeks in October. So it's huge from an economic perspective, exposing the city of Annapolis to the world. We have people here from all 50 states and 27 foreign countries that we know about. Obviously, the strongest group still comes from Maryland and Pennsylvania and Virginia and Mid-Atlantic, but they come from all over the country, all over the world here. All the hotels sell out. There are cottage industries that have been developed for commissioning week and boat show weeks. And people leave town and rent their houses out.
Absolutely. The whole Airbnb industry, that's people that are doing that.
So it's huge. And not everybody enjoys the benefit that week, but there's that ripple effect. There's that multiplier effect that happens throughout the year where the people make their money during these 2 weeks and then they spend it throughout the community the rest of the year.
I've also got to imagine that a lot of people that do come here specifically for the boat show are sitting here saying, well, we ought to go back there again for
absolutely
not the boat show. We're hustling. We're looking at what we need to do for the boat, but let's stroll these streets. Let's see what the city has to offer, which is good. And you had mentioned the cottage industry of, you donate money. I don't say donate, but give money to the city every single year. They get a portion of your ticket sales. There's, the fees and everything else that goes along with that. You reimburse for the, I believe, like the police overtime.
Some of the city services,
and services and whatnot. And you pay rent.
We pay rent to lots of people. And it's not just a donation, of course. It's rental of a space, and the city and state of Maryland actually have the greatest share of our ticket sales revenue. So we get less than the rest of them do. But that's how we develop. That's how we determine.
Well, that's your problem for coming to Maryland. I mean, that's how that works here.
I have nothing negative to say about Maryland, of course. No, but so that's the way it's been developed from the very beginning. Is that there's a sharing of the ticket revenue. So everybody needs to be involved in developing the consumer groups that come in here and driving attendance and that kind of thing. It's not just us that do it. So the city helps out. The Visit Annapolis people help out. It's a big deal.
Well, it is, and also the timing of this thing in October. Our tourists have left. The parents have left from the Naval Academy and Plebe Summer and Parents Weekend. The Naval Academy is getting back into the routine of school. Obviously, we've got a couple football games that come in here.
Sure,
but we're going into a really difficult time for every single one of the retailers that I'm looking at going up Main Street. We're going into the winter months, which are hard. And I've spoken with a restaurateur who said that, you get me in the right month in February or the right night on February, and I'll pay you to eat in my restaurant, and I'll even buy your drinks if you eat in the window and smile.
Can you tell me which one that is?
I'll tell you later. But again, here it is October. We're bringing the business into town, and the restaurants are full. The hotels are full. People are shopping. People are buying, not just at the boat show, but they're going up Main Street. They're going up to Maryland Avenue, probably out to West Annapolis, over into Eastport. Certainly, we're making the budgets of the PTAs at Annapolis Elementary School, who offer their parking lots for parking, and Eastport Elementary, which has done parking forever. And you've got people that are doing private parking lot, and they've got a front yard and everything else. But this is a huge boost to all of the merchants throughout the year that will carry them through. And there's three events. I mean, you've got Midnight Madnesses, which tend to boost merchants in December, and then in January, or Restaurant Week, that tend to really sort of be this little jump start to make them through until the spring rolls around and the Academy starts ramping up to Commissioning Week. The Spring Sailboat Show comes into Annapolis, and then we get into summer. It's just a cyclical thing, and it's just a wonderful little kickstart to what can potentially be a very tough time for businesses.
Well, I'd certainly like to think that we make a contribution from that standpoint. I mean, you're bringing 80 to 100,000 people in here for 2 weekends in October. I know that they're spending money.
What was that number that you said again?
80 to 100,000 people coming in for 2 weekends in October. Some of them stay throughout the rest of the time. We have exhibitors. We have 600 people a day that work 6,000 people a day that work in the boat show. If you've got 500 exhibitors and each one has X number of people, if we do the math, we know that there are a lot of people that come in here and spend the 2 weeks here and do the work. And then we've got this whole large, gigantic consumer group that comes from around the world to come in too. So the point is, these people are spending money somewhere. I don't know that they're going up and buying a diamond ring from so-and-so or doing but somebody, as a result of those weeks, has made a lot of money and will be buying that diamond ring.
Yeah, no, the exposure is critical. And I mean, that's a huge number, that 80 to 100,000. I mean, if you divide that evenly between the two shows, that's doubling the population of the city almost on each weekend.
That's a fun fact.
bring in an additional, I think I want to play that in trivia this week.
Yeah, really.
But it's, again, these are people that didn't have Annapolis on their radar in October without the boat show.
Well, it's interestingly enough, we say that and we bring new people in, and we're working hard to bring in the millennials and younger, a whole new audience. Boating is not something that's growing in large numbers in terms of bringing new people in. So we're working hard to do that. We're creating entertainment and other kinds of activities, not just boats, not just boat shoes, that sort of thing. A lot of these people, we have about a 70% retention rate. These people are coming back year after year after year. So they come in from around the mid-Atlantic area or wherever they come from and come to this boat show because they love this boat show and they love Annapolis.
This is sort of like the Sam's Club of boating. It's just this big giant warehouse. I mean, there's anything you want in boating. It's under one big roof at one time. And certainly it's a benefit for local boaters here as well as anybody that wants to come in. I mean, I can buy a 50, 60, 70, 80 foot yacht, or I can buy 12 foot of line, and I can get it all here. To attract the millennials, attract the younger crowd and the new generation, there's entertainment and whatnot. What type of entertainment have you?
Well, we have the kinds of things that we're doing are number one, educational. We've really we've really put a focus on boating education and introducing people to the sport and or lifestyle of boating.
And that's Cruisers University.
More importantly would be something like the first sail workshops. We have virtually 300 people that get on 22-foot Catalinas this year and or Beneteaus this year to take an hour and a half sail. So we give them a 45-minute class and an hour, 90 minutes of sailing out with instructors out on the water. For many of them, it's the first time they've ever been on a sailboat. And we sell that out 2 times a year. We have 500 people that we're introducing to the sport or lifestyle of sailing each year. We have Take the Wheel. Take the Wheel has 8 different boats, 4 monohulls and 4 multi-hulls, and people sign up for a full day of classes and sea trials on those boats, and so they get to go out and try boats that are as large as 54 feet and larger.
So are these people that are interested in that particular type of a boat, or are these particular people that are looking to getting into boating, or both?
Both. A lot of the first sail workshop people are looking at getting into boating. They're trying sailing out for the first time.
Right.
We have a program now in the Powerboat show this year, and it's done by the Boat US Foundation, and they will take people out for instructional sessions on powerboats too, small powerboats. I think Freedom Boat Club is providing the boats for them. So we've found that seems to be the best way to bring new people in and to educate them and to get them excited about the sport and or lifestyle of boating.
Throw them in the water.
Throw them on the water. Let's say on the water, not in the water. So we have first sail workshops. We have a whole group of classes called the American Sailing Summit with the big magazines that are providing for-fee programs. We have free seminars. We have Take the Wheel, and we have Cruisers University that's now in about its 7th year, and we'll see almost 400 people a year registering for and attending classes in Cruisers University. So last fall in the Sailboat show and Powerboat show, we had 900 people who paid fees to go to various programs that were all about boating and or sailing and or cruising or whatever.
Now, Cruisers University, that's sort of a soup to nuts how to boat, isn't it? I mean,
it's all about living aboard a boat, actually. These are people who are looking at sailing away or boating away, going away on a boat and spending time living on a boat. So we talk about near or distant shores. I came here on a boat. That's how we found Annapolis.
That's how the mayor got here.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's how many of us get here. And the people that come and work for us every fall, a lot of them are coming here on boats because they're long-term cruisers. So these are classes that are all about anything from navigation and diesel maintenance to how you prepare food in the galley and your storage systems and weather forecasting. And we have a program called Cruising Women. We have 2 wonderful, strong women who will teach this class, and we have, I think, 27 or 28 people registered right now for that one, women. And that's empowering women to get out there and be an important part of the crew as well.
Don't need no stupid man to sail.
You don't need, but and in many cases, it's the man's out taking a diesel or navigation class, and she's taking this class, and then they spend 2 more days taking electives, and so
they combine their skills and
they have
set
a team.
sail.
They have a crew, a team, and you have the captain, of course, and then you have the admiral. And
right.
she's doing something.
She's the admiral.
Yeah.
Let's not make any. Don't pick any bones on that one. That's what's new about the Sailboat and the Powerboat show this year. What are you as far as the boats come? I mean, I know every year you premiere some new boats, right. And obviously this is one of the big shows where manufacturers will introduce new and I don't say refurbished, but new, freshened up models.
Right.
You know, there's some that are just stalwarts that have been around forever. Probably that J boat that got hit on the bay a couple weeks ago.
It's being refurbished now, probably.
That was, but I'll tell you, that boat, I can't believe how well that held up. They should be advertising that. Like, remember when Boston Whaler used to cut their boats in half?
Right. I do remember that. Yeah, that was a combination of errors that leads to things like that. We know that, but there are always innovations. There are always new technologies. It's whether it be in the electronics area or whether it be the boats themselves and in the platform. Foiling catamarans now. We've got a couple of those. We have huge numbers of catamarans. Catamarans have become the giant in the industry right now, particularly in the charter business.
Okay.
They're stable, they're fast, they're roomy. Lots of people can sail on these boats and they don't spill their drinks because they sail flat. So it's a huge direction in the boating industry right now with catamarans and trimarans too. So multi-hulls. So we've got those. We've got small boats on land. We've got there's another boat that's been invented here in Annapolis that's coming this year. It's a small boat. You'll have to go out and look at it.
Okay.
So there are just lots of things that are presented and introduced at the boat show, whether it be gear or whether it be clothing or accessories, lifestyle items. But mostly it's about the boats. And they are new in both sail and power this year. Powerboat show is introducing a lot of new boat introductions.
Now, the person that comes to one of the sailboat shows, are they looking to figuratively sail away with a boat that day or that weekend for this, or are they looking for next season? Or
in the fall shows, it's not practical to be thinking that you're going to have a boat that's available to drive away on Tuesday. Most of these companies that are here are manufacturers in the sailboat show. Most are the manufacturers. You're coming in to place your orders. They'll be produced over the wintertime and delivered in the spring or maybe a year from spring, depending on what happens. The powerboat industry, pretty much the same, although not quite as strict as that. Many times, we'll have over 650 boats this year in the powerboat show. It's huge. And many of those boats are smaller boats, either on land or in the water, where they literally are available for immediate sale. And you can put your name on that one and pick it up on Tuesday after the boat show. So it depends. In the sailboat show, we've got a lot of gear, a lot of equipment, a lot of accessories. People are coming here to upgrade their current boats. Powerboat show, they come in, they buy boats, they see the new ones. They've got boats available up to 70 feet long, and or they want a new tender for their 70-footer.
I've got to say, the boat show is starting to scare me now. As my youngest child is starting to graduate college, and that tuition bill is going away, I'm like,
don't be scared.
Yeah.
Come on down.
Come on in. The water's fine. I know your type. I see where this is going.
Don't be afraid.
Again, you can do it. I mean, we talked about stuff we can buy. I mean, actually, you can purchase a boat here. You've got big financing options that are available here. Sure. I know that I've seen them here. You've got LH Financing, I believe it is, that's doing your VIP section.
Yep. No, they have a little different approach. And they LH Finance has got will pre-qualify people, and then we'll invite them to come to the boat show as their guest. So you may want to buy $1 million boat, or you want a $200,000 boat, and they will pre-qualify you, pre-approve you. You come in as their guest, go shop the boats, and let's face it, in this boat show, if you want a 40-foot semi-customer production sailboat, family cruiser,
right,
you don't just go look at one or two of them. You can go look at 12.
Sure.
Because everybody has their boat here. In the powerboat show, if you want a 25-foot center console fishing boat, you can look at 30 of those, and you can see virtually every manufacturer and find it. So, but what LH Finance does is it pre-qualify you, then they invite you to come in, and you're also then able to go into the VIP red carpet lounge, we call it, and there's food served during the day and tastings of various drinks and that kind of thing, and so a nice place to sit and relax. So there's some benefits to being part of that. But there are several other finance companies that are here that have been with us for many years, and insurance companies. You can do the whole boat transaction in one show.
Right here. And then all you got to do is show back up on Tuesday and pick it up.
Or they'll deliver
if it's towable, if it's towable and that's the boat that you want.
Right.
The other thing that is happening, it always seems, and I say always, but often you'll see high tides or rain.
Really? I didn't notice that.
No? Well, you got to check it out.
It never rains in a boat show.
And this year you're doing something a little bit different. I read it in the Capitol, so it must be true. You are raising the floor.
We're trying to rise above the flooding of Annapolis. Yes, we had a serious problem last year. It's been. I mean, this has been going on forever. This is not brand new, but it's getting worse and worse and worse. So as the sea continues to rise and as the shoreline continues to subside, we're getting more and more underwater. So we had a situation last year where many of our booth exhibitors were underwater. Literally had their merchandise ruined in the water. People couldn't walk down certain aspects of it. So we've corrected that this year. We're flooring over everything, all of our display space along Dock Street, everything down Newman Alley between our office and
right, and between Fawcett's and the Fleet.
Between Fawcett's and the Fleet, and all the entire parking lot will be decked over with raised floor or floor on the surface. It's a brand new surface, and we're still flooring over the top of it. So we just have to bring our boat show up above the water line, and now until the city is able to get that fixed.
And that's got to come at a huge expense, doesn't it?
It's huge expense. Well, for us, this is a huge expense for us. We're increasing our flooring by about 40%, which means we're going to spend $100,000 flooring underneath our show this year. The long-term solution, obviously, is not us paying for flooring. It's about backflow preventers and pumping systems and things to keep the water out of the streets. But that is even a much more grand expense.
But in the meantime, the boat show must go on.
The boat show has to go on, and we try and make sure that our consumers who are coming from around the world have a pleasant experience here and can actually get to all of our exhibitors who spend a lot of money to be here.
Have you pissed off the galoshes manufacturers?
No. We've been able to keep them happy. We do get a day or two of rain or hours of rain, and that helps out the foul weather gear people too. So they like that.
Well, another thing that you did last year, which I thought was pretty tremendous in light of the foul weather that we experienced down in the Caribbean last year. The boating community is worldwide. It's not just Annapolis. It's just not Newport or San Diego or Fort Lauderdale or Miami.
Right.
It is a worldwide community. And the Caribbean was devastated by several hurricanes last year. Puerto Rico is just starting to recover, I think, at this point fully, nearly a year later. And you guys said you needed to do something, and you developed this program called Hands Across the Transom. Mm-hmm. And you were the very first one to step up and say, okay, we're going to seed this thing, and we're going to make a large donation to this, and we're going to send it down to our friends down in the Caribbean to help them rebuild. Your suppliers jumped, and you had a party, and if you donated $75, I think, or $45 something, you got invited to Pussers for a party and everything else. Your suppliers jumped on and said, "Oh yeah, I'm in. Here's a check for me."
Yep.
You had little plastic boxes all around the boat show.
Collecting soggy dollars.
Soggy dollars because it was probably going to rain, and it was raining down in the Caribbean and whatnot, from just people that were walking around. And it was a really great show of support for the boating community worldwide. And you raised $250,000 over 2 weekends in October.
In Annapolis.
And that's a huge number.
It was a huge number. Actually, it surprised us. This is our industry. These are the people who support us, who come to our boat shows. We have something called Vacation Basin in the Sailboat Show. People are booking 50% and more of their year's business at our boat show for their charter companies. These charter companies were wiped out in the British Virgin Islands and in the Caribbean. Their boats were destroyed. So we looked at that. We said, well, we've got to do something. We've got to help them somehow. And so we ran the idea by some people. And by the way, there were organizations in place to collect money and raise funds for to help these people. All we did is we brought them all together under one umbrella of Hands Across the Transom. So we used all other people's.
Well, it made perfect sense. I mean, you were in October certainly, and right when the I want to say the tail end of hurricane season, but they were sort of waning down in the Caribbean. I mean, you were the epicenter of the boating community in the United States for 2 weekends in October. So it made perfect sense to turn around and bring that together.
Yeah, and it was close enough, like you said, close enough just past those catastrophic events that it did have gained traction, and we did really well. So a lot of companies stepped forward. We put the initial seed money into it and organized the parties and the functions, and got a lot of really nice volunteers from locally to help out as well. So it turned out to be a very, very good thing.
You said Vacation Basin is booking charters in that vacation?
It's all charter companies from around the world. We have a huge Mediterranean tent right behind me, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
And they have about 12 or 15 charter and destination resort companies that come in there. We've got the Caribbean all represented. It's mostly about charter destination resorts, even owning boats in charter and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So there are boats that's all down Eagle Alley, and there are boats in here as well as the charter.
And this is for those that aren't aware. I mean, a charter boat. I mean, you can do it what they call bareboat, and you can also do it with crewed.
Sure.
So you can go down and be Bill and Melinda Gates and have somebody sailing the boat and cooking your meals and and making your beds, or you can
Bill and Melinda Smith or something.
Or you can turn around and do it all on your own. So there's can be an all-inclusive type of a vacation, hands-off, or if you're into sailing and you want to do that, that's certainly an option that you can do there.
Yeah, you don't have to own your own boat anymore. There are boating clubs. There are partial ownership kinds of situations, fractional ownership. There are charter companies. There are destination resorts that have boating activities. There are all kinds of ways of doing it. And we organized those people into one big group down here in Eagle Alley, and they are doing huge business now at this boat show. People come here just to book their charters. They can shop anywhere from Croatia to the Virgin Islands to Timbuktu.
Wow. And again, it's also a fun time to walk around, see what's here. You've got a lot of vendors, a lot of food vendors, a lot of local, I know the Boy Scouts, I believe, are still...
Boy Scouts have always done some fundraising here. The 24, I think, nonprofits that are doing various activities, so it's hard to remember all of them, but we like them all.
And they're welcome down here. I know, and I'm trying to remember which one it is, but somebody sells the ice creams that are usually right down here.
Nutty Buddies?
What's that?
The Nutty Buddies?
Yes.
Yeah. They sell those over the fence from outside, one of the nonprofit city food vendors out here.
But again, the boat show is supporting the Eastport Elementary, the Annapolis Elementary, the vendors that can come in, the scouts and the service organizations that can come in and sell product to raise money for their own organizations outside of the boating community.
As well as promoting events like Leukemia Cup and many of those kinds of activities that are boating activities inside the show, too. Mm-hmm. So we provide them with space.
The Sailboat Show, October 4th through the 8th, and the 4th is the VIP day or the preview day.
Preview day.
That's always on a Thursday.
It is always on a Thursday, and we run and boat show. The Sailboat Show is always on Columbus Day weekend, so that we always run through Columbus Day Monday with the Sailboat Show, no matter what else happens. And you hear about switching so next year the Powerboat Show is first and that kind of thing. Sailboat Show is always on Columbus Day weekend, so runs Thursday through Monday, with Thursday being the preview day. It's a more expensive ticket, so therefore we have fewer people there, and you can get more attention from the salesmen.
And all boats are 70% off.
All boats are for sale.
Oh, well, I thought I would try.
Yeah.
The preview day, I've been here for that, and that's nice because it's not nearly as crowded. As you said, you're bringing an awful lot of number of people into town to walk the docks to see that. It's a great time to see that. Looking on Thursday, the 11th, is the preview day as well for the Powerboat Show after the sailboats have moved out and the Powers have come in.
Right.
And that only runs through Sunday, though, because
it's a 4-day show.
We haven't been able to get a public holiday on October 15th yet, but that's...
One year they actually shut down the government the weekend of the Powerboat Show, so the Smithsonian was closed, and so everybody they were already planning to come here, and they all came to Annapolis and went to the boat show. It was great management.
Not a bad deal. Tickets are available at AnnapolisBoatShows.com, and you can buy them in advance. I do recommend that you do that. Just that way,
the other thing that happens is when you buy your tickets online, you're automatically registered for the grand door prizes too, which are big charters in the Caribbean and some other things go along with that. So when you buy a ticket online, your name goes in for registration for the drawing of the grand door prize.
That's not a bad deal.
Not a bad deal.
Not a bad deal at all. Buy them online, AnnapolisBoatShows.com. You can get them for the Powerboat Show as well as the Sailboat Show. And I love your new, is it a new tagline, but come to the show, leave with a lifestyle? Is that new?
That's new this year, yes.
You ought to give somebody a raise for coming up with that one. That one was unless it was a team effort and then you owe everybody a pizza.
Paid for.
I think that it's a great thing because, you turn around, you come for the show. This is what you get to experience. And boating will get, I was a power boater at one point, and then as my kids grew older, other interests were there and it didn't make sense. I sold it. And
now it's time to get back into it again.
I'm afraid you're not wrong. I'm terrified that you're not wrong, but that will be here. Getting around is real easy. You've got shuttle buses that run. You can park at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium, right?
We recommend that everybody does that. The elementary school parking lots will fill up, and we love that too. But I wouldn't drive downtown. park at the Navy Marine Corps Stadium, and we run constant buses from there. We've got 17 buses running all the time, all day long into the evening. And now there is a powerboat. There is a home game on the Powerboat show Saturday. So then we have alternate parking on Riva Road, and the signs will all be up directing people to Riva Road, Board of Education, high school, and
okay.
So but they're clearly marked along Riva Road. So
okay.
But anyway, we recommend that for parking. It's $10 to park all day long, and the bus ride's free. So it's
and it picks you up. It drops you right down here at the head of Ego Alley. Right. It'll pick you up on Main Street, top of Main Street, down Duke of Gloucester Street.
This is our own buses. They pick you up and drop you off right at the gate.
Okay.
So
isn't there a stop on Duke of Gloucester for?
There is, first of all, on Duke of Gloucester, which is up at the top of St. Mary Street. That's the entrance to our brokerage show.
And that's in the Powerboat show, right?
The Powerboat show, we have the brokerage show in St. Mary's Cove, and that'll first stop will be there for the buses. And I think last year we had about 55 or 60 powerboats that were brokerage boats that were available for immediate sale there too. So, and we do water taxi rides back and forth between the main show and there. So it's kind of fun to get on a boat and take a little ride.
Right. Water taxis will be running during the boat show as well.
Water taxis always are running, and then we have a couple that we have specifically contracted
for yours.
To do.
And the Woodwind is actually also sailing, and that you host them within the confines of the boat shows as well.
We do in the Sailboat show. They run their one of their boats right out of our show.
And I always do recommend, if anybody is not a sailor, or even if you are, get out on the Woodwind. They're always a fun sail there. But yeah. Paul Jacobs, again, thank you for your time. Congratulations on your beautiful office here. Long time coming. It's nice to see there's some occupancy here at 110 Compromise Street, and I'm looking forward to seeing Whalertown move in downstairs, and it'll be great. I'm looking forward to seeing the boat shows, with the Sailboat show coming in October 4th through the 8th, and this Powerboat on the 11th to the 14th. Get your tickets, like I will, at AnnapolisBoatShows.com.
I hope so. Thank you.
So we're raising the surface of the walkways. So we're going to raise the city up to compensate for flooding.
Yeah, they're gonna build a platform over all of the paved surfaces that typically flood. And I'll tell you, last year it was a mess. I mean, there was some that was literally up to knee high in water, and I can't imagine how pissed off some of the merchants were.
Well, the problem is that when the water rises, they shut down Compromise Street. So that's, I think, mostly the locals who would come in. They can't get in, or they don't come in from that direction, because I don't think you have many visitors come from that way.
Right.
He says there's 80 to 100,000 people in 2 weeks. That's incredible to me.
Yep. They essentially double the population for each boat show that they bring in, at least double the population of Annapolis. So it gives you an idea of how tight the impact that it has. And it's, they do an awful lot for the city. I mean, I'm not saying that we need to, they're the end all and be all of what Annapolis is by any means, but I think that they're just an integral part of it. I think they're an iconic part of it, a modern icon for the city.
There's a story about this tribe in South America that they have the army ants that come through, and the army ants migrate like twice a year. And when the army ants come through, they wipe out they eat everything, insects, rodents, everything that they find in their path. So when they're on their way, the people just move out of the village for about a week. When they come back, the village is like vacuumed clean by the ants. They took care of everything. I see that kind of like the boat show, that for 2 weeks, all the residents stay away. We're perfectly fine with it. And when it's all done, we come back down and all the businesses are flush with cash. Everyone's happy.
And like Paul and I talked about was, the cottage industries that have sprung up on that. I mean, you've got the Airbnbs and all the people that leave town and rent their homes out to people that are visiting the boat show.
The parking spots.
The boat show. The parking spot. And I will throw a plug out to the Eastport Elementary School. Great place to park your car. Very convenient. Just a quick walk over the bridge to the boat show. And I think it's $20. Could be less. But it goes right to the PTA, and they just do some wonderful stuff. And that school is a really good school because it's a very, not probably a politically correct term, but it's a very well integrated school. I mean, you've got
that's politically correct.
All sorts of different classes. You've got some public housing. You've got some regular, middle class. You've got some upper class. You've got, it's a very
Latino. It's good. It's a good cross section of the city.
It's a good school. Their PTA is just extremely strong. And, I do recommend that if they have space in the lot, park there, and don't give Jess any shit because she'll tell you how to park and how close to get to the next car. And if you don't, I heard she keys your car and lets the air out of your tires.
Yeah, so he was saying that he said it in passing. He said, I don't know exactly how much money that the visitors spend in the city. That would be an interesting study too, to see, because we know the check that they write to us or to the city and they present the big check every year. But it'd be interesting to the merchants to see how important the boat show is to them, if it is, because is there a way to quantify that?
I mean, certain. Well,
you got the hotels, you got the restaurants.
It'd be difficult because you'd have to look at those weekends in prior years, and it's been here for 49 years.
Right. Yeah. So you don't have any baseline.
It'd be very difficult to. I've heard anecdotally that the merchants below Conduit Street do very well.
Right.
And the merchants above don't. And it's sort of like that whole church circle sometimes for Main Street. That's why they don't go to Maryland Avenue or West Annapolis. They get up to the church and turn around and come back down.
And last week we were talking to Alex and Mayor Buckley about this. We were talking about the Santa Speedo run and how some of the merchants don't like it because they feel that they don't benefit from it or may keep business away. And our point was that I think the merchants and the downtown residents have to realize that some events will benefit certain portions of Main Street or downtown.
Sure.
And it's not going to be a blanket sort of solution for everybody. So Midnight Madness is basically the people between Zachary's and Church Circle, they benefit. Whereas, the boat show, the Market Square and the rest of the restaurants down there, they benefit. Right. And Dining Under the Stars benefits West Street, so you kind of spread it all out.
It's a give and take. It's a give and take, and they need to do that. But I mean, the boat show does an awful lot, an awful lot for us. And I think that's, I'm excited to go see it again and, see what's new and dream a little bit.
And you come for the show and leave with a lifestyle. Actually, it's pretty good. I wanted to make fun of it. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I was looking to make fun of it too, but then I was like, no, that's pretty good. Give them a raise. Whoever did that for you there.
I picture people just kind of coming in wearing these stupid T-shirts and leaving wearing Sperry's and Helly Hansen, and
that's true. The cheap
smoking a pipe.
Cheap sailboaters and the generous powerboaters as far as tipping goes.
What's the take on that? The powerboaters
tip better. Yeah, they're like Judge Smales. Or no, not like Judge Smales. He's a sailboat.
Yeah.
They're like, what was Rodney Dangerous's character?
I don't know. What was his character? I forget.
Al Cervic.
Oh, that's right.
Cervic. It's one of those two.
Yeah.
Hey, free champagne for everybody.
Does his hat come with a free bowl of soup? Looks good on you, though.
Yeah. So get down to the boat shows. Good times, a lot of fun. Go dream. And make sure you tune into us next week, because what are we doing next week?
Commons.
Huh?
We're talking about the Commons.
The Commons. That's right. That's where we are.
We're at the Commons right now.
We do record at the Commons.
It's right across from the Lighthouse Bistro. Mm-hmm. You pass it all the time.
Bistro or Bistro?
Bistro.
I've said that word more in the last month and a half because the mayor put on those bistro tables on Main Street.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, right across from the Lighthouse Bistro on West Street 209. If you need a place to work out of for a day or maybe a month, or need a semi-private office, it's a good place to come.
It's very Pacific Northwest in here. It's got the exposed ceiling, the high ceilings, and the Edison light bulbs, and the wooden high tables, and it's just...
It is. Well, I'll make sure I take pictures after we put it all together so people can see what the inside of it looks like. But we're going to talk about some different people that are here, why they're here, and everything else. And basically...
Sesame Street. These are the people in your neighborhood, huh?
Yeah. Basically, we're going to give them an hour-long plug because they're just really great, and we've got this great place to record.
Yeah, they got to stay here. We don't want to be kicked out.
Nice people there. Beyond that, what do you got on the plan, Tim?
Well,
Okay, good.
I do have some stuff coming up. So we're going to be talking about a friend of mine who is an engineer who is very into theoretical engineering. So whereas I love Alexa, and I have an Alexa in every room in my house, and I control everything, and I love it because I don't have to do any physical labor such as moving light switches up and down. And he says that I am an incredible fool for doing that, and he's going to explain why.
Oh.
On all that stuff.
That's interesting. Okay.
You're not going to come away from this feeling any better. It's not a feel-good piece. You're going to come off it paranoid and throwing away all your technology.
It's sort of like the HPV piece.
Yeah. You're not going to be happy with all your technology after this one.
Well, that'd be interesting. But beyond that, no, if anybody that's listening has any suggestions, we probably ought to revisit the thing with Lee Hurt and Kara McKenna.
Right, and Satchel. Satchel's our guy out in Prince George's County. Satchel, it's just we're totally disorganized. That's why. And by we, I mean me.
Uh-huh. Any suggestions? Send them in. If you got ideas for guests, If you've got ideas for topics or whatever, we'd love to do it. If you think you'd be a good guest, come on in. Let us know.
And find us at the info at themarylandcrabs.com, or you can go to Facebook where we have a group and we have a page. And I'm so off Facebook now. I'm so sick of it, but not of this. You're not going to be sick of our page or our group. You're going to love that. And then Twitter, which I have quit, at MD Crabs Podcast.
Very good.
Yeah, well, I've forgotten because I'm off Twitter because I'm better than that now.
And I'll tell you what I did is we had a call-in line or a tip line or anything like that. And I used it when I did an article on the bike lane. I asked people to call in. I worked out really well. But you can call or text us. We're not going to answer the phone, but you can send a text or a call to 443-266-3600.
And I still want to do that ghost story one that we talked about. Mm-hmm. This is actually not scripted. We're talking about this, like we're working this out live in front of you people.
Right.
But I want to do where people call in with their ghost story. I want to do a Halloween episode where you tell us your ghost story in town, like 5-minute story. And I want to just string them all together.
That might be fun.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll stop Scott McMullen from bitching that there's no haunted house in the county.
Yeah, he does complain about that. But this is the real deal. This is like the real, like if you've had an experience. Someone told me a story about Peter Shields, which is a hotel up in Cape May, New Jersey, and it's a local business owner where they left in the middle of the night.
Which hotel?
He and his wife, Peter Shields. That's the name of it.
The what?
Peter Shields.
Okay.
But they got up in the middle of the night, and he's a prominent business owner locally, and he and his wife told me the story together, and they said they woke up in the middle of the night and they saw a little boy standing in the middle of the room, like standing where the table is, cut in half by the table. I mean, not cut in half, but like he was standing where the table was and the table was going through him.
Ooh.
They packed up their stuff and they left in the middle of the night.
Okay, I like
And I don't believe in any of that stuff. I don't.
I like your idea, Tim. Okay, I'll tell you what. If you've got a ghost story, if you can tell it, give us a call, 443-266-3600. And we will stitch them all together and do a Halloween episode.
Yep, that's what we're going to do.
You can write it out and read it if you want.
Right.
You don't have to be great, or you can just sort of recant it. Then when you call the voicemail, it's just sort of a machine that answers, so it's nothing really personal or anything like that. But just when it says beep, just start talking.
Yes, they know how a voicemail works.
Yeah, that's about it. Tune in next week, Thursday at noon, same bat time, same bat channel.
We'll talk commons.
This has been the Maryland Crabs Podcast with Tim Hamilton and John Fernay. Sure to follow them in all the regular places, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and online at themarylandcrabs.com. Take a moment to rate us on iTunes. Now, get the hell out of my kitchen. Seriously, go!
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.